And what's up, YouTube? It's your pal Moonstone, and most of you know me as the Autistic Siberian Husky, but if you go to my channel description, it also says sometimes I'm a white wolf. Well, lots of my friends kept asking, hey, what's that mean? Hey, what's that mean? Hey, what's that mean? So I thought, you know what? I'm gonna explain it. In case it wasn't obvious already, in case you're a new subscriber or new viewer and haven't seen my other videos, I'm a Therian. And my friends had to show me this. Hey, you're pronouncing Therian wrong. It's Therian. I know how to pronounce it, but by the time it comes out of my mouth, it's too late. So I'm going to try and pronounce it right. I'm not really good with words sometimes. Like I said, I'm autistic. I have trouble with words sometimes, so I'm trying. Before I begin, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I want to give a big shout out to Cory's Territory. I actually recently watched a live stream she did. She's making her own Therian mask, so good job to her, and she's making her own Etsy store. Also, good job to her. She can use the money to get a proper camera so she can make her channel better. And she also mentioned this other thing. She had a furry YouTube channel but got deleted for some reason. And she's at 300 something subscribers. Cory, I'm so sorry. I hope you get back. I really do. And I can't wait to check it out if you do, because I'm sure your content's amazing. But anyway, back to the video. Now, there's only Therian videos I did. I think I only did 2 Therian videos. One was an ASMR and the other one was, I think, discussing the difference between a Therian and a furry. Did I said Therian wrong again? I'm sorry. I gotta learn to pronounce stuff better. So anyway, like I said, my Therotype is a white wolf. And the reason that Therians, well, I'll call it whatever. The reason that Therians are Therians is because they have a connection with a certain animal. It could be any type of connection. It could be a spiritual connection, a past life connection, or even a physical connection for all that matters. And my connection is with the white wolf. Now, I'm going to go into a story about how I first discovered this. Now, I mentioned before in a previous video, my whole life I didn't feel different. I felt like a normal kid, but that's because I didn't view things from another perspective. My whole life I perspected things from my own perspective, nothing outside my comfort zone, and everything was just inside its own private little bubble. That's the way it felt for me. But that was until I saw him. I'll explain who he is in a minute. It first started back when I was 3. I used to live in this countryside town with my brother, and this was before my little sister was born. And this is when my older sister used to live with us. Her name was Jay. I'm going to call her Jay. And yes, I have a lot of sisters. And that was when she was living with us. She was 17 at that time. And she was watching us while I was playing out in the sandbox. And my sister was inside for a nap because we were real little. Mom made us take naps. And that's when I saw him. He was just sitting out there in the distant field. I can make him out perfectly. If you don't know what I'm talking about, him, he was a wolf. But this wolf looked different. He was a dark shade of blue and a light shade of blue, and his eyes were an amber color, and, well, not amber, it was sapphire. Yeah, that's it. It's called sapphire. His eyes were a sapphire color, and I was like, whoa. And I called Jay over, and I was like, Jay, check that out, check that out. There's a wolf over there. And she's like, huh? And she looked in the distance, and she looked directly at him. He was like, where? And I was like, over there, can you see him? And she was like, oh, imaginary thing, that's cute. And I was like, no, I see him, he's right there. And she's like, yeah, and that's nice. Now come on, Moon, time to go in. And I was like, Jay, and that was my first saw him. I looked for him the next day for the next couple months, but I could never find him again. And that kind of sucked, because that was around the time when we were moving out of that house. My birth dad died, and we bought a new house that was farther away from there because Mom just couldn't stay in that same spot. It was too much. And that was the second time when I saw him. When I first slept in the new house that we bought, I was honestly scared. There was a lightning storm coming outside, and that's when I felt something just jump on my bed. Now, we had a dog. His name was Jackie. I mentioned him before. And I thought, oh, Jackie, thanks for sleeping with me. And that's when I opened my eyes, and there again was the wolf. I was confused. I was like, oh, I know you before. I saw you out in the field. And to my surprise, the wolf talked. And he was like, oh yeah, didn't think you saw me there for a second. Pleased to meet you. And after that, we engaged conversation. I asked, hey, what's your name? And he was like, my name's Wonder. And I was like, oh, cool. Hey, Wonder, my name's Moon. He was like, oh, pleasure to meet you, Moon. It's been a long time since we met. And I was like, wait, what do you mean? We never met before. And he was like, oh, yes, we have. I doubt you remember. It was another lifetime. Now, back then, I didn't understand lifetimes or past lives or anything like that, so I just brushed it off. And after that, I constantly saw him, and eventually we started, constantly talking, and we were like old friends. And eventually, I had this really weird dream. The dream started out like this. At first, I was just lying down in bed, but after that, I felt this weird sensation. I felt like I was floating. And after that, after I felt like I was floating, I opened my eyes and I felt whoop, and I just landed back down in bed, and I was in bed again. And was like, was I floating? Did I just float? That's the way I felt. So I went back to sleep. But this time, I woke up in this really big forest. At first, I was confused, but at the same time, I was excited because I loved playing around in glassy areas. I loved forests. I loved parks and stuff like that. That was my favorite. And I just started running around the grass and jumping in the puddles. And I love jumping in metal puddles. I don't like that anymore because it's all dirty, but I used to love that as a kid. I'm still a kid, but when I was a toddler, okay? And I just played around like that for a long time. But that's when I saw Wonder. He was sitting on a rock watching me as if he was there the whole time. And I was like, oh, hey, Wonder, hi. And I ran up to him and he said, oh, hello, Moon. How have you been? And I was like, oh, yeah, good, good. I haven't saw you for a couple months now. Where were you? And he was like, oh, I had a few pack things to take care of. Now, come on. I want to show you something. And after that, we went through a walk in the woods, and the walk lasted for about 10 minutes, but that's when he took me to this spot, and he said, dig. And I was like, okay. I was a little confused, but I didn't question it. So I started digging for about 10 minutes, and that's when I found this wolf skeleton. I was like, I wonder what's this? And he said, touch it. And I was like, okay. And that after that, a big electric shock came through me. It was like a weird shock, like something radioistic, like radio waves and those feelings they give you when you touch an antenna. That's what it felt like, and suddenly I was in the body of a white wolf. I was a white wolf. Now, at first I was freaked out, but I was like, oh my god, this is so fun. And after that, I played with Wonder for the entire day. We swam in the lake. I talked with some others, pack members, and I just felt more alive than ever. I felt like this was true freedom because when I was a kid, when I was human, that I just that was the only time I felt odd. I've always felt like I could have been something else. I always felt like something should have been different. That was another thing I felt different about. And eventually, before I went back to bed, well, bed as in the cave. So after we were done playing, Wonder took me to this ginormous mountainside den where all the other wolves slept, and I slept next to him. Before I went to bed, I asked him, I wonder. He was like, yeah. And I was like, today I felt like something was off. Ever since I saw you, I felt like I was different. Do you know the answer? And he was like, I'm your spirit guide. I know all the answers. I met you before in your old life. You're a Therian moon. I'm sure you know what a Therotype is. I was like, oh, okay. I was really tired. I didn't question it. But later on, that's when I started doing research about Therians. And I was like, oh my god, I'm a Therian. I was astral shifting. That wasn't a dream. It was astral projecting. And I shifted to my wolf form there. And I was like, oh my god. And after that, I became really attached to it. Wonder and I still talk. He doesn't stay around all the time. Sometimes, like I said, he has pack meetings. He has to go someplace in the spirit realm. And I still wolf shift. I don't physically shift. I don't think anything can do that unless they actually know a certain ritual or something. I heard rumors about that. Anyway, what I do is astral project and I go into my wolf body, and that's when I play with some of the other pack members, and sometimes I play with Wonder. And sometimes astral project outside my house and just run around my neighborhood. What's good about astral projecting? You're practically a ghost, no one can see you. You walk right past someone and they don't see you. Now, don't play around with astral projection. It's very complicated and kind of dangerous in a way, I guess. Not too dangerous, but so don't only do it if you know what you're doing. And so yeah, that's how I found out about my Therotype. That's how I found out I was a Therian. And that's how I met my own spirit guide. Like, if you want me to do more vlogs about him, or talk more about him, or talk more about the spirit world, because he taught me a lot about that place. He taught me a lot about that forest I went to. He explained a lot of stuff. If you want me to explain more of that, just let me know. Give this video to 10 likes, and I'll do this part 2 of this video. And Cory's Territory, or Cory, that's the name of her channel. I hope you get your channel back, and a good live stream. That's a good mask. Work in progress. My mask is nothing fancy, but I honestly think you're doing much better than mine. Yeah, I'll put a link to our channel down in the description. Well, guys, that's all for today's video. But until we meet again, peace. See you later. Bye.